Good morning. I'm Andy Myers at Weiss Research.
I'm Jen Amos, and this is your morning market update for Tuesday, January 4th, 2011. Stocks on Wall Street are kicking off the new year like they finished 2010, in rally mode. The U.S. market rose about 1% yesterday amid positive data on manufacturing and construction, and they're higher again this morning. Investors' attention will remain fixed on the economy today as investors digest a report on November factory orders. Then this afternoon, we'll get the minutes of the latest Federal Reserve meeting, at which policymakers kept interest rates at extremely low levels. That's due out at around 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
The auto sector will be in focus as well as car makers release their December domestic sales figures throughout the day. Analysts expect it to be the strongest month of the year as consumers headed back to the showrooms. Shares of both Ford and General Motors are rising ahead of the reports. GM in particular is showing strength in early trading after Goldman Sachs started coverage on the stock with a buy rating. Goldman said GM is now fully restructured and ready for growth. Another stock posting solid gains today is BP, rising 2.5% after a similar gain in London. The UK's Daily Mail reported that Royal Dutch Shell considered a takeover of the company as it was going through the Gulf of Mexico oil spill crisis. Ultimately, Shell's board decided there were too many legal liabilities to take on BP, but the company reportedly is still interested in a merger.
Speaking of oil, crude is dropping back below $91 a barrel right now, after getting close to a two-year high earlier. Gold is also lower, falling below the $1,400 mark, as optimism about the U.S. economy increases the risk appetite among many investors. However, at least one analyst thinks that optimism is unlikely to carry over into 2011. Morgan Stanley predicted that the S&P 500 will drop 2.7% this year on lower corporate earnings. There are a few more November end earnings reports to get through this week, including Mosaic and Sonic after today's closing bell, and Family Dollar stores, Constellation Brands, and Monsanto later in the week. But the real focus will be on the fourth quarter results that start coming in next week. Ahead of those reports, Citigroup cut its estimate for Bank of America's quarterly earnings. The move comes just a day after Bank of America gained more than 6% on news that it reached agreements with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to buy back troubled mortgages.
A couple other early stock movers to tell you about. Borders is tumbling 10% after the bookseller's general counsel and chief information officer resigned. Borders recently announced it would stop paying bills to some vendors. SuperValue is falling nearly 5%, and competitors Safeway and Whole Foods are also lower after all three supermarket chains received stock downgrades. Nike may lose ground as well today after it was removed from Goldman Sachs' conviction buy list. But on the other side of the coin, Goldman added Walgreens to the list, pushing that stock up more than 1% in early trading. That's the latest from Weiss Research. Have a great trading day.